off with our invocation and pledge. Has the Reverend arrived? Is there a minister in the audience that would be willing to begin us with prayer? Yes, we will take a moment of silence in that case. Just to take a moment in silence. Obviously, there's a lot to reflect on. We've lost a lot of lives in the last few days in our community and our extended community. So that may be something that you may want to think about during that moment of silence. Okay, on to our pledge by Sergeant Eric Smith.
Good morning. All that can, please stand and face the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so kindly. All right, so this meeting is now called to order, and we will begin. We're going to shuffle the presentations a little bit until I have the first set of proclamations coming out of the chair's office. And just so that everyone's aware, the second presentation has been withdrawn. So we will begin with presentation 3, which, let's see, I don't have I think so. Oh, no. Yes, I'm missing those presentations as well. So, this is for the Minority Business Week. So we'll do Liam Johnston for licenscephaly awareness. So that will be number 4. That's Commissioner Gambrill.
Oh, somehow I have it.
Okay. I think we found the missing presentation, at least one of them. Okay. So then we will start with the Minority Business Opportunity Week in Cobb County. So those that are joining me for this presentation, please come up to the front. And okay, well, I will just present it then. Okay, well, it is a special month. This is for the Minority Business Opportunity Week proclamation. Georgia is recognized as a top state for business with a strong economy and supportive environment. 36.6% of Georgia's small businesses are minority-owned, ranking it 3rd in the U.S. Cobb County is home to a diverse range of corporations and enterprises. These businesses significantly contribute to both Cobb County and Georgia's economic growth. The Georgia Minority Supplier Development Council is instrumental in certifying minority-owned businesses, supporting their growth and development, and facilitating their engagement. The Cobb County Board of Commissioners proclaims September 16th through the 20th, 2024, as Minority Business Opportunity Week. We honor the achievements of minority businesses and recognize their critical role in the county's economic success. So, yay. And there is a proclamation. We will have to determine where it goes. Yes. All right. Thank you. And now on to Commissioner Gambrill's presentation.
Good morning, Commissioners. How are you?
I'm Jackie McMorris, County Manager, and I would just like to introduce Commissioner Gambrill and the Senior Services staff, along with their guests, as we represent over 50 years of Cobb Senior Services for providing programs and services for seniors. If you all would come down and receive your proclamation.
Are you all from the same senior
No,
center, or-
actually, we're West.
You're West? We're West. Okay, West.
And now we've got Estelle here, we've got Freeman Pool.
Johnny knows.
Yeah.
Jotan. Well, it is with great pleasure that I get to present this proclamation. Whereas September is nationally recognized as Senior Center Month, a time dedicated to celebrating the invaluable contributions of senior centers to the health and well-being of our community, and whereas Cobb County is privileged to have a network of 7 senior centers that provides essential services, innovative programs, and enriching social opportunities for older adults, and whereas these centers serve as community focal points for adults 55 and older, fostering connections, combating loneliness, and promoting healthy aging, and whereas senior centers offer a diverse array of programs, activities, and opportunities to pursue mutual interest that promote socialization and encourage continued involvement in the community. They enhance the physical, mental, and emotional well-being of the participants and encouraging connections through education, support, and recreation. Therefore, we, the Cobb County Board of Commissioners, do hereby proclaim September 2024 as National Senior Center Month. We encourage all residents to recognize and appreciate the vital role senior centers have in our community and to support their efforts enhancing the lives in older adults. This, the 10th day of September, 2024.
Thank you. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. My name is Iwana Bovo-Nicolescu. I'm the director for the Senior Services Department. I wanted to say thank you so much to all of the board. Dr. McMorris, thank you so much for this honor. I am not really going to speak today other than say thank you to the staff. They are the ones that are making things happen at our centers, and that we make sure that we serve the folks that you see here today. And so I am not going to talk because it's about them today. I want to pass the microphone to a few people to just kind of let you know what it means to them to have these senior centers available in Cobb County. So, Keith?
Thank you. Really, I want to thank the Board of Commissioners and the county for giving us this opportunity to receive the award, and also to recognize the importance to this senior center program. Now that I am of age, I realize the importance to it more than ever. I volunteer at 2 of the centers, and one of them is the Wellness Center where the Marietta Neighborhood Center is. And they are doing an invaluable service for people that aren't mobile or can't get out or drive anymore. And it means an incredible amount to them. They play chair baseball, they play cards, we give them lunch. And every day these people come in, and it means an incredible amount to them. And that's, just that group. We've got square dancers, we've got pool players that come in every single day. I've had the opportunity to play Santa Claus and Ed Sullivan the other day with the Beatles. So it's really, it's an opportunity for people to do stuff that they never, ever would do before. So thank you for giving us that opportunity.
Hey, thank you again. My name's Victor, and this is my wife, Vicki. We both go to the West Cobb Senior Center. We also partake in the West Cobb, North Cobb, and Tim Lee, and we appreciate the variety of programs. There's exercise classes, educational programs, and all types of information available, which really helps us just keep busy in these times. Vicki volunteers, and I just take Tai Chi and other things. So thank you again.
My name is Lois Minta, and I attend the West Cobb Senior Center. I also volunteer there. I have learned how to knit, paint. There's just such a wide variety of things that we can do, and I've made so many friends. It's been absolutely wonderful since I've moved to Georgia. Thank you.
You wanted to speak.
All right. Well, I know in the interest of time, we keep passing the microphone, but I just wanted you to hear, because it's all about making the connections. It's really not about what games you play or what exercise classes you take, what you learn at the centers. It's just having that place to come and not be at home lonely. Keep active, keep your brain, engaged, and age, in a fun and good way. And so thank you so much.
Everyone gathered at the center. Tall folks in the back, let's call on the front. Great. Okay, everyone get where you can see us. All right. We're ready? 3, 2, 1. One time. No blinking. No blinking. Thank you.
It's fine. It's fine. That was the, I'm a correct the record, yeah. Right, right.
You say that. Hey, I did last
What a fantastic presentation. So, okay, looking for everyone to get settled again, resettled. And would just like to clarify for the audience, that was the presentation that we were looking for at the top related to the National Senior Center Month. And certainly, okay. I know, it's a very exciting thing. But I do need everyone to just quiet a little bit. Thank you. Thank you. So we can go on to the next presentation, which will also be brought by Commissioner Gambrill. The first one was in conjunction with our county manager, just so that everyone's aware. And Commissioner Gambrill, if you can lead us in the lissencephaly.
If I can have the Johnston family join me, please. Is the family of Liam Johnston here? Yes. Okay.
I was about to say, I think we've hit a record for.
Good morning, Liam. Hi, thank you for joining us this morning. I would like to give you this certificate of recognition. The Cobb County Board of Commissioners honors Liam Johnston for his perseverance and courage in overcoming the challenge of lissencephaly, a rare neurological disorder affecting 1 in 100,000 people. Despite early doubts from medical professionals about his ability to walk, talk, or learn, Liam has made remarkable progress. His achievements inspire those around him and offer hope to others facing similar challenges. On Lissencephaly Awareness Day, which was September 8th, we celebrate Liam's achievements and reaffirm our commitment to increasing awareness, supporting affected individuals and their families, and promoting research for better treatments and potential cures. This, the 10th day of September, 2024.
I just wanted to say thank you so much for doing this for our family and for Liam. It's actually kind of important day for him today. 5 years ago is when he was diagnosed with epilepsy. So that is kind of our biggest challenge with him. And so it's nice today to have something good to look forward to, have him celebrated, and we really just appreciate you doing this. You say thank you?
Thank you.
Good.
Trade you?
Thank you. All right, and our last two presentations will be brought by Commissioner Burrell. Or, sorry. Next one will be brought by Commissioner Burrell. Go ahead.
Good morning, everyone. If I could have the Daughters of the American Revolution up and the folks here for Barbara Hickey Children's Fund Constitution Day. Okay, next Tuesday, the 17th, is Constitution Day. And these ladies here from the DAR celebrate Constitution Week for the whole week. And they also have a ceremony on the square next Tuesday at 3 o'clock, ringing of the bells. And I'm going to let them tell you about that. But first, I'm going to read their proclamation. I got my hands full. We recognize both groups every year, and it is an honor to be here, but also to present this for our Constitution. Whereas Constitution Week is the commemoration of America's most important document and is celebrated the week of September 17th through the 23rd. It will be the 237th anniversary of the drafting of the Constitution on September 17th, 1787. The United States Constitution is a symbol of the tenacity Americans have displayed throughout history to maintain our liberties, freedoms, and inalienable rights. And whereas this celebration of the Constitution was started by the Daughters of the American Revolution in 1955, the Daughters of the American Revolution petitioned Congress to set aside September 17th through the 23rd annually to be dedicated for the observance of Constitution Week. The resolution was later signed into law by President Dwight D. Eisenhower. And whereas the purpose of Constitution Week celebration is to emphasize citizens' responsibilities for protecting and defending the Constitution, inform people that this important document is the foundation of our way of life, and encourage study of the historical events that led to the framing of the Constitution in September 1787. And whereas the Daughters of the American Revolution also built a structure in tribute to the Constitution of the United States, Constitution Hall, which is a performing arts center, opened in 1929. Now, therefore, we, the Cobb County Board of Commissioners, do hereby proclaim September 17th through the 23rd as Constitution Week in Cobb County and thank the Daughters of the American Revolution for its tireless advocacy on behalf of all citizens. We encourage all residents to learn more about this important document and celebrate the freedoms it affords us. This is the 10th day of September, 2024. This is so important to everyone.
Thank you, Commissioner, and thank you for having us here today. We are the Daughters of the American Revolution, the Fielding Lewis chapter located in Marietta, Georgia, the largest DAR chapter in the state of Georgia. So we invite you to come on Tuesday, the 17th, to the square. We will be ringing bells at 4 o'clock, the exact moment the Constitution was signed. We have a special guest, former Governor Roy Barnes will be there. We also have music, patriotic music by Matt Powell. Everyone's invited. Try to arrive by 3:15, but the program will start at 3:30, and let's celebrate our Constitution.
And leading up to this next week, our chapter delivers packets to approximately 40 different Cobb County schools. Our packets encompass a copy of the Constitution, a book that tells about the history of the Constitution, a flag, a copy of the Pledge of Allegiance, and also a bell so they can participate in the bell ringing at their school next week.
Thank you. Thank you. And it is so important to get our youth involved and learn about the Constitution from the ground up. You want to hold this and I'm going to come around the other side for the Barbara Hickey Constitution Day, and then we'll get a picture. Okay. The United States Constitution is a symbol of the tenacity Americans have displayed throughout history to maintain our liberties, freedoms, and inalienable rights. September 17th, 2024, marks the 237th anniversary of the drafting of this important document by 39 brave men at the Constitutional Convention in Philadelphia. And whereas the framers established a strong federal government able to provide the energy and stability its people require while simultaneously limiting its reach and reserving all powers not expressly assigned to the federal government to the states and the people. It is vital that all Americans read, study, and understand the greatest document of human liberty and help protect the freedoms set forth in the Bill of Rights. And whereas Constitution Day launched in Cobb County through the efforts of Millie Rogers in 2010, who was the immediate past president of the Georgia Federation of Republican Women and the past president of the Cobb County Republican Women's Club. Mrs. Barbara Hickey worked with Ms. Rogers in the initial efforts and was joined by the Constitution Day Committee of the Cobb County Republican Women's Club. The committee delivered constitutions to elementary students in both the Cobb County and Marietta City school systems. And whereas Barbara Hickey established the Constitution Day Fund as part of the Barbara Hickey Children's Fund in 2018 to raise money for distributing constitutions to elementary school students in Cobb County and Marietta City schools. The continued work of supporters is a great way to help educate our youth and honor the efforts of those who came before them. Now, therefore, we, the Cobb County Board of Commissioners, do hereby proclaim September 17th, 2024 as Constitution Day in Cobb County, and we thank the Barbara Hickey Constitution Day Fund and its supporters for their involvement in the Constitution Booklet project and efforts to educate the public. We encourage all residents to read and study this magnificent document and celebrate the 237th anniversary of its creation. This is the 10th day of September. So I have Millie Rogers, the originator of this Constitution Day, in 2010. So we've been doing this for 14 years. And Rose Wing is also part of the committee. Two of the committee members are on vacation and couldn't be here today. And they are Roseanne Hall and Marcia Stemmy. So we thank you, ladies, for educating our kids in schools. And you want to tell us a little bit about this?
Thank you, Commissioner Burrow, for your willingness to recognize the Constitution Project. Listen to this, folks. It is not political, okay? It is about educating our fifth graders, our parents, and our community. And thank you for your willingness to allow us to do this. It's something that we all probably hear about, but this is what you all need to pick up, okay? It's a Constitution booklet. And let your children educate you about what is in this, because I can tell you they are very well versed, and I appreciate what the teachers do. We just ask teachers, please celebrate this around September 17th. It may not be on the date, but you know that's better than December, so they understand. The first three words in the Constitution is "we the people," and I would like to read to you a quote from George Washington. "The power under the Constitution will always be with the people." The First Amendment, and I will close with this, is the right of the freedom of religion, freedom of speech, freedom of the press, and freedom of peaceable assembly, and the right to petition government for the readiness of grievances. Again, thank you for recognizing and understanding of educating our children. And you hear that fifth graders are smart kids. I can tell you they are. They know their Constitution. I hand this over to Rose Wing, who is the vice president of the foundation.
Well, thank you, Millie. Again, Millie started the program. Barbara Hickey took it over from Millie and started the foundation so there would be funding for placing the Constitution in the schools. This year we are placing the Constitution in all 4th grades of the Cobb County school system and the Marietta school system. So we appreciate it. We appreciate Joanne. We appreciate it from the entire board, and we appreciate it from the community.
And if anyone would like to help us pack them up and send them off, call me. Okay, now we need a picture. Well, we'll do a separate. Wait a minute. We're gonna switch. Oh, one more. Thank you, ladies. I'll see you Tuesday. Thank you. Okay.
Okay.
Hurry up, Rob.
All right. And to our last presentation, brought to us by Commissioner Sheffield.
Thank you, Robin. Is Teresa here? Tirsa, I'm sorry. Tirsa, come on down. I thought I saw Stuart. There he is, the chief. Come on down. Yes. Are you Tirsa? Are you Tirsa? Okay, we're going to wait for everyone to kind of get in place. Come on in here. Okay. The Board of Commissioners presents a certificate of recognition to Officer Tirsa Grostic for her outstanding record of safe driving during the Vehicle Telematics Trial Project. Samsara is the telematics system used to improve driving behaviors and recognize safe driving. Cobb PD was the first department to participate in this trial. Remarkably, throughout the trial, Officer Grostic consistently held the highest score for safe driving habits among all participants, ensuring her safety and that of Cobb County citizens. Congratulations, Officer Grostic, on this well-deserved recognition. Congratulations.
First of all, thank you, Commissioner Sheffield, for this honor, and thank you to everybody who's been involved in it. I think possibly our friend Ordell might want to say a few words about Samsara, but I do appreciate the efforts of the county, Dr. McMorris and all who have taken this program and put some rewards in it, and this is something that I think will be very beneficial for our department in recognizing people that drive so well. And I have to give a little bit more credit to Officer Grostic, because when the chief knows you, it's usually not good. But I know Officer Grostic because of amazing work in the field, particularly what she does with the community, with persons who are disabled and our youth. And I would strongly encourage anybody that is not following our social media, please look up the Cobb County Police Department on social media and follow us. Rate us on Google if you like us. If you don't like us, don't worry about it. But really and truly, some of the things you'll see on there are pretty good on the safety side and how we keep people safe. But more importantly, the different things that we do to build community trust. And Officer Grostic has been an absolute hero in my mind with the things that she does in both of those arenas, and you can see those if you follow us on Facebook. So I already knew Officer Grostic because of her incredible work. So Officer Grostic, I thank you not only, I told her earlier, I said I knew you were out there doing your job in the uniform in the police car, but I didn't know you could actually drive. So she is a great driver in addition to all the other good stuff. So congratulations, you do an amazing job in the field, and we appreciate you driving well as well. So thank you for representing this department so well.
Good morning. Officer Grostic, next year, January, marks 3 years since you've been with Cobb County. I didn't have the pleasure of meeting you, mainly because the way that we manage claims right now is if you have an accident, you get to know our department. This began that paradigm shift where we begin to recognize those who are doing a great job. You know that saying, when I'm good, no one remembers, and when I'm bad, no one forgets. If we continue to chase accidents, we'll never reduce our numbers. What you have demonstrated is that you can do your job and you can do it safely and improve your odds of making it back home to your loved ones in one piece. We thank you for clearly demonstrating that it can be done. But my role was to provide the tools that my team needed to make this happen. Stephanie and Ken, they led the way on this. So I don't know if you'd like to share something about the experience, Stephanie. Stephanie is our safety manager for our division.
Hey, Stephanie Lord, the Safety Division Manager, and I really just want to express my gratitude to the police department. You know, this was a team effort in getting Samsara up and running. It's been a long time coming. We've been working on it for quite some time, and I know we've still got some steps of implementation, but again, Officer Grostic, you just really showed the benefits of this program, because we knew that there are great drivers in police department, but like Chief Van Hooser said, you know, with our department, we often don't know officers unless it's in a bad situation, and that's not where we want to be in, because we know there are awesome drivers all throughout Cobb County, and this will allow us to recognize those awesome drivers who choose safe driving behaviors on a daily basis. And again, it does also provide opportunities for growth for drivers as well, so we can point out those behaviors that they can improve on. But again, we know that we've got some drivers who have barely any improvement necessary. You know, I think 98, 99, there are scorecards with Samsara. And yeah, again, 98, 99, she is almost a perfect driver, which is very hard to find in Atlanta, as I'm sure you all know, but she is one of them, and we are very proud of this partnership that we have had with PD, and we really hope that it continues and we are able to present many, many more awards for PD and throughout the county. We also thank the board for approving this so that we can get it started. Thanks.
Fantastic, and I can attest, coming from the risk department, this is very important. So moving on to our next agenda item, this is a pension board update. Again, make your way to the front. Fantastic.
Great, thank you so much, Commissioner Richardson, Commissioner Gambrill, Commissioner Burrow, Commissioner Sheffield,
Dr. McMorris, honored to be with you all today. I'm Roger Teterow, Professor of Economics at Kennesaw State University, and it's my honor to serve on the Cobb County Public Pension Plan. I serve with Sam Heaton, Craig Owens, our distinguished sheriff, Jim Harner, and Bill Volkman. And so today what we wanted to provide was a short overview of the performance of the pension plan. We'll take any questions either today in the meeting or we're willing to go back and collect data to provide answers the commissioners would like. So let's jump in and talk a little bit about our process and the people involved. I've hit on the members of the board, but I would be remiss if I did not recognize UBS Financial Services, who is our investment advisor. Part of their role is to help screen the funds that go into the pension plan. They bring in fund managers several times a year, and we get to spend time talking to those fund managers, understanding their style and questioning them about their performance. We also acknowledge the guidance of our actuaries, Kavanaugh McDonald, as well as the custodial service of Truist and legal advice of Troutman Pepper. Let's hit the big charge to the board, and it's important that we understand the relative roles that we play. The charge to the board is fundamentally to do two things: to ensure that we are good custodians of the financial assets that have been accumulated from contributions by the county and employees, but also we are responsible for helping manage the funds in a way that gives us the best return while maintaining the prudence that is required for a pension. Ultimately, what drives the status of the fund is pretty simple. It's a little equation. Being an economist, I want to put everything in equation form, but here we have it kind of letting out in words. But ultimately, we have contributions that come into the fund every month. They're either in the form of what employees contribute or what the employer, Cobb County, contributes. In addition to that, some of those contributions are actuarially required. In other words, they are the amounts that the county commits to keep us in line with our long-term goal of being actuarially 100% funded. But in addition to that, the county has recognized the deficiency that was created 25 years ago, perhaps, in the funding of the program, and makes contributions in excess of what is actuarially required, and that is an important role that I think the commissioners have recognized. In addition to that, the other issues that come into that is the rate of return that we earn on these assets. I think one of the things we're proud of is we have fairly consistently outperformed our target of 7.25%. And then, of course, the rate at which we pay out benefits matters too. On that last point, let me make a couple of comments. Last time I spoke, Commissioner Chairman Cupid made a very good point. At that time, the county was going through a review of the pay plan for employees, and it was acknowledged that when you up the compensation of employees, that also has implications for how well funded your pension plan is. So I think the county made a conscious decision to factor that into their thinking when they adjusted compensation for their employees. The other thing to keep in mind is that what we don't control is the mortality rate, if you will, of retirees, their propensity to retire at certain dates. So we do periodically conduct what we call an experience study to talk about how we're actually performing as a pension plan versus what we had projected in the future. The traditional defined benefit program has a service factor of 2.5% per year, and the employee contribution rate is 8.75%. But because we started kind of working away from the traditional defined benefit program in 2010, we are now down to about 40% of the same number of plan participants that we once had. So gradually over time, what is happening is the number of active participants in the defined benefit program will continue to shrink as people retire. In contrast to that, the hybrid program, which we put in place in 2010, applied to all new employees after that. And so gradually, as we've seen the number of people in the traditional plan come down, the number of people in the hybrid plan has come up. Now, the hybrid plan only has a 1% service factor and an employee contribution rate of 3%, but we actually have the option for employees to contribute into a 457 program, and the county matches them by up to 4%. One of the things that we do on the pension plan ask is occasionally to get input on to what degree the hybrid participants are making that contribution, because it is a key component to what their retirement benefit will look like when they reach that date. The long-term trend of the pension funding is worth acknowledging. In 1997, we were essentially 95% funded. We made a change at that time, or a change was made at that time on how the traditional program would award benefits, and that took us from being about 95% funded to about 70% in the span of about a year. We also saw a little drop in our funding ratio back in the mid-2000s, which I think may have been tied into some early retirement program initiatives. But what we have tried to do, and I think have been successful at over the last 10 years, is bring that funding ratio up to some degree. As you notice, we have gone up to where we now reach 60% funded. Keep in mind, what does that mean? Well, what that means is if we look at the projected benefits that we will have to pay in the future, the current assets account will cover about 60% of that. At one time, about a decade and a half ago, we were looking at about 48%. So we've made some gradual progress there. We will continue to make progress on that. One of the things that makes sure that we will is we are locked into a 30-year closed amortization schedule. So what that means is when we look at where we actually are, which is the green line on this chart, we're a little bit ahead of where we project ourselves to be. But we have on that 30-year amortization, you know, we've already clipped off, I think it's 13 years of it, so we still have a ways to go. But at our current projection, we will be 100% funded in 20 years. Now, that requires us, of course, to have our assets perform at that 7.25%, and it requires us to continue to make the kinds of contributions that have been made by the county to the pension plan in the past. Now, our bogey that we try to hit every year is that 7.25%. If you look for the calendar year ending December 31st, we actually had a 21.4% return for that year. For the year that ended a couple of months ago, June 30th, 2024, it was 9.6. But what we try to look at is look at a longer period of time. And the 3-year returns don't look great because, of course, we had a really, really tough year or two right after the pandemic. But if I look at the 5-year return, the 7-year return, or since the inception of the program in 1994, we have beat that 7.25% target, which is really the responsibility of the board. On that point, I will acknowledge that the majority of pension plans around the country have been lowering that parameter gradually over time. And I think it's fair to say that probably 7% assumed rate of return is a more common parameter to shoot for. So I would share that with the commission and ask us to reflect upon whether over time we want to lower that 7.25 down to something a little bit lower. The good part of that is it raises the probability that we will continue to make progress toward becoming fully funded. The challenge with that is, of course, in the short run, it will make the fund look a little bit less funded because we're assuming a lower rate of return going forward. So those are kind of the big issues that we have here. Again, the part that the pension board manages, the return on the assets, I'm very proud of our performance. UBS shares with us data that shows how pension plans of our size that are public sector around the country are performing, and we are consistently toward the top of the heap. So that's something I think the county can be proud of and something that I think its employees can take confidence in. So those are the basic ideas we want to share today, and certainly we will entertain any questions from the commissioners.
Thank you so much, Roger. And turning to my colleagues, are there any questions that you have for him? Commissioner Burrow?
Just a comment. You've been on the pension board and chair for several years, and your knowledge and experience is invaluable to us. So we appreciate your service to the board and to the county. Don't go anywhere.
Well, you know, it's something we take very seriously because you just saw an example of great employees of the county that come in and they're dependent upon the commission and the pension board to ensure that when they reach their golden years, they're rewarded for their service. So thank you for the opportunity to serve. So.
I have a quick question. You mentioned that 7.25% is the kind of national average or the average, but you also mentioned that the board should consider reducing that. What would be your recommendation for a reduction?
Yeah, 7.25 is our target. Actually, I think originally we were like 7.75, and so gradually over time, we have brought that target down. So when you're bringing that target down, what we're saying is we're going to make a more conservative assumption about what kind of returns we can generate. So the national average, and I will, thank you, Commissioner Sheffield, I will share the actual data with you. I'll pull it together for you. But I think that probably the median is probably around 7. And so one more humane way of doing it might be to decide to bring down that 7.25, maybe like in 5 basis point increments over time to kind of gradually move it down toward a 7%. I mean, while it does bring pain on the commission for having to commit more funds, you know, because we reduce that assumed rate of return, and in the long run, it does make it a higher probability that we're able to get closer to fully funded in a shorter amount of time.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions? Okay. Well, thank you very much for your presentation. Okay, we will move now into public comment, which I will look at the county attorney for opening.
Yes, and I'm asked to say a couple of words regarding District 2 Commissioner status. Under Georgia law, all offices in the state shall be vacated by an incumbent ceasing to be a resident of that district for which he or she may be elected. The body authorized to fill that vacancy shall do so without the necessity of a judicial determination of the occurrence of the vacancy. The first step in that process is providing statutory notice to the office holder of an intent to fill that vacancy. The decision of the body to fill the vacancy shall be subject to an appeal to Superior Court. Additionally, nothing in this process shall affect any right of any person to seek a separate judicial determination of the eligibility of a person to be holding that office. While the vacancy notice and appointment process and any potential judicial determination plays out, the acts of the office holder, in this instance Commissioner Richardson, are recognized as valid under Georgia law on the grounds of public policy and for the protection of those having official business to transact. Georgia law explicitly contemplates that a person may be ineligible to hold office, but still validly act under the color of law while holding that office of a commission. The general rule is referred to as the officer de facto doctrine. It is well settled in Georgia that although a person may be absolutely ineligible to hold any civil office, whatever in the state, yet his official acts while holding the commission as a public officer are valid as acts of an official officer de facto. As we get ready for public comment, the board provides the podium for, it's appropriate for us to review those related meeting rules. When you come forward, please state your name, and if you are speaking on behalf of an organization, all comments should be made to the commission as a body and addressed through the chair. Public comment is not a dialogue with the board, but an opportunity for the speakers to provide their comments to the board. Comments should not be slanderous. The board encourages, regardless of the topic, for the audience to be respectful and courteous to all speakers. Everyone attending this meeting should give others the right to both listen and be heard by treating each other with civility. Statements made during the public comments portion do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the board or the administration of Cobb County government. There is a timer on the podium to keep track of your 3-minute time limit. The first speaker is Linda Bell.
Good morning. Commissioners, I am Linda Bell. I live in Mableton, and I am speaking today in support of the transit referendum, or the MSPLOS, which will be on our November ballot. Being 72 years old, I don't fit the typical demographic that's most in favor of expanding transit, I think. But I've come to realize over time that this really isn't about me. It's for the future. And I intend to vote thinking deeply about my grandchildren's future. My primary reason for supporting expanded transit is also perhaps not typical, since it's for environmental reasons. Climate change greatly concerns me. It's real. The science overwhelmingly supports this, and we see it every day now with some unusual climate event. The basic science for what's causing it and how best to respond to it isn't complicated. We need to drastically reduce the burning of fossil fuels. If we ceased burning fossil fuels tomorrow, global temperature would stop rising tomorrow. I recognize this isn't going to happen, but I also recognize if we slow walk this for 50 years, the temperatures will keep rising for 50 years with costs that I'm not sure we can even conceptualize. And we are seeing more frequent and intense extreme weather events, such as unusually heavy rainstorms, record high temperatures, hurricanes, floods, tornadoes. Even if these things are not directly hitting you, have you noticed how much your home insurance is increasing? I was recently shocked myself to see that our already high, I thought, home insurance went up 30% in 1 year. When I spoke with the company, they said that this is due to several events, but one of the main ones is all of the weather events that affect everyone's coverage. So it affects all of us now, and it will continue to do so. By the way, this 1 year increase in insurance for us is probably at least 3 times the anticipated cost of the 1-cent sales tax increase. There are a lot of ways to lower greenhouse gases, but transportation is certainly number 1. Our vehicles are our greatest contributor to global warming. Mass transit can be effective in lowering transportation emissions. But detractors are correct in that for buses to be effective, people to have to ride it. For a transit system to attract riders...
Ms. Bell, I'm sorry, your 3 minutes are up. The next public speaker is Samuel Foster.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Sam Foster. Don't really have a dedicated thing I'm talking about today, but just generally speaking about, I guess, the referendum and the transit supported projects are in there, but specifically something that personally affects me is the biking aspect of it, the multi-use trails and the sidewalks. In this county, and a lot of areas of it, it's not really safe to get around without your car, and that makes it so that even if somewhere you want to go to the grocery store, you want to go downtown, for a festival or something, it's not safe to get there unless you're in your car, which is annoying first and foremost because you got to pay parking when you get to certain places, and it just makes it unpleasant to go places. But there's a safety aspect to that as well because we have people who can't drive, they're older, or people who are younger who can't drive, they want to go to school, they want to just go hang out with their friends, and they don't have a driver's license or they can't drive. I like that this plan is focusing on building out more infrastructure for people who get around in different ways, but I think something we need to focus on, regardless of if it passes or not, we need to focus on building out networks. Just like we built out road networks, we need to have sidewalk networks, we need to have multi-use trail networks, bike networks, bike lanes. People aren't just going to see something, drive there, and then decide that I'm going to bike here now just for fun. We need to make it so people use these systems as a way to get to where they want to go just because that's a way to get around. And that's how a lot of different places in this country do it and a lot of places around the world. They create systems that people use because it's convenient and it's pleasant to get around that way. It's a lot cheaper for somebody to use their own 2 feet to get somewhere or to just bike somewhere that's really close and, it doesn't cost you anything but the food in your stomach that's providing you energy to get there. That's it.
Thank you.
The next speaker is North Searles.
Good morning, and thank you for providing me the time to speak at my first public comment, and I wanted to speak on behalf of support for the mobility splost. As a student...
Sir, one moment, just please state your name.
Oh, of course, my apologies. My name is North Searles as well, and I'm here in support of the mobility splost. As a student, I see accessibility as an imperative, both not just to myself, but to my members of to the members of my community. And frankly, I see in a lot of my peers a great financial burden that comes with accessibility. And especially in terms of personal transportation, many of my friends and peers, again, spend upwards of a quarter of their monthly budgets on their own personal vehicles. And I see this as an opportunity to provide them with accessibility at a more affordable cost, providing them with more time to spend both with friends and family and to spend their money on things that really matter to them. And for me, that really is the greatest reason that I support this, is just in support of monetary gains. But thank you guys again for providing me with the time to speak.
The next public speaker is David Gilstrap.
Sorry. All right. My name is Davey Gilstrap, and I'm with Kennesaw Record Service. You are about to be presented with item number 25 that contains bid proposals from the Department of Public Safety regarding the tow zones in Cobb County. There are 5 police zones in the county, and we are currently servicing Zone 1. We're the only record service whose physical lot is in Zone 1, and we have never been disqualified. In addition, I would like to say that we have serviced Zone 1 for a total of 12 years and have never had a serious violation. The police officers and the fire department love us, and we love serving our community. According to the county ordinance and statements by the permits unit by the Cobb County Police at a pre-bid meeting, a qualified towing service that is in the zone should be awarded the contract for that zone bid. That is not what is being presented today. What is being presented to you is the Department of Public Safety awarding 2 of these zones to Marietta Record Service, 2 of these zones being awarded to Bear Record Service. These 2 record services they are awarding the zones to have overcharged the public for years. I was going to present you with some receipts for proof, but I failed to do that. These fees are being paid by the people who elect you to represent them and protect them. Before approving this bid, please consider that the cost of the county to award these bids is 0. However, the cost of the county and potential legal fees and judgments by these record services overcharging your constituents could be substantial. Please vote no or postpone this vote today and allow my attorney to meet with you and prior to your vote on this matter. Thank you.
The next public speaker is Craig Harfoot.
Thank you.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name's Craig Harfoot. I still can't believe that Commissioner Richardson's on the dais. The 3 of the commissioners broke their oath of office and used an illegal map, thereby causing great harm to the community because now we got to do over an election. But what's worse is they used the map for Commissioner Burrell to get reelected. And at the heart of all this is our county Denton's lobbyist, Sam Olens. Now, back in the day, in 2002, he gets elected. He goes to the State House and says, hey, I need more money. I can't live on $55,000. That's what the chair paid in 2002. And they more than doubled it. So he knows how to get enabling legislation. There was an effort, I think, and a coordinated effort, and I've asked, trying to contact the governor to enforce this because he could have preserved your seat. You would be there legally if you did the enabling legislation, but you chose not to. You wanted to make a big racial deal out of it and, get more turnout for the election. But in this big turnout election, there's 2 seats that aren't even going to get voted on. They're going to be decided with minuscule numbers of voters where the chamber's just going to put in whoever they want. There's the below the 70,000 voter threshold, 40,000 maybe, 40 to 60. And getting them in just these 2 seats, that's insane. But anyhow, you said you'd step down if you lost the case. You lost the case. And for you to continue the lawfare is ridiculous. I mean, your cabinet's mostly white. It's not black. And yet you're going to try a racial approach to stay sitting in the seat. It's wrong. And you broke your oath of office. And I can't understand why You know, I watch judges that party get removed. I watch commissioners that do stuff they shouldn't do get removed. But you wasted our money. You wasted our time. And you illegally reopened Lower Roswell Road by saying it was your district when it's Joanne Burrow's district. So you did all this harm to the community. And I don't see how anybody could say you're a good person when you do that. And it's just lawfare, lawfare, lawfare. And by the way, climate change is solar cycle 25, everybody. You better look all this up.
Mr. Hartford, your time's up. The next public speaker is Christine Rosman.
Hello, Commissioners. Christine Rosman. I would also like to talk about M-SPLOST, that mobility SPLOST, and the 30-year tax. And all you need to do is look at the statistics across the country and even Cobb County, that over the years, ridership keeps declining. So throwing good money after bad isn't going to entice other people to want to start doing public transit. The microtransit stuff, that makes sense, but, and even on an ecological note, all these buses that are going around Cobb County that are empty, who is that helping? I mean, it's like good virtue signaling, like, hey, we're into buses, but if nobody's riding them, it's no good. And so I hope you consider that, because at this juncture, it's a minimum of $500 per family per year that we'll be spending on this for 30 years. And that's just a minimum. And that's also, if the US dollar stays the world currency, which it probably won't, because there's nothing backing up the US dollar except a hell of a lot of debt. And every month there are more countries that are adding themselves onto BRICS. BRICS being that Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, currency that is gold-backed. And so I think we're going to be in for a rude awakening that's going to happen, and not only for transit, but for everybody, and that would include the pensions and everything else. If the, I hate to be the doom and gloom gal, but the reality of it is you might want to look into BRICS, you might want to look into, we might not have the money that you guys are always spending, and you enjoy what Deloitte and Accenture are telling you what to spend the money on, but you know, they are big partners with World Economic Forum. World Economic Forum tells them what to do, then they tell all the counties what to do. So it's not like you're being innovative, you're just following what the World Economic Forum is actually saying to do. Not all of you, because I know a couple of you do not vote for all of the monies
Ms.
that are
Rosman,
spent.
your time's up.
Thank you.
The next speaker is Matt Stegall.
My name is Matt Stegall. I live in District 1. I serve on the Transit Advisory Board, but these views are my own and my own personal views. Today is a very, very sad day for Cobb County for two reasons. First, what happened yesterday at the Elections Board meeting, where it was interrupted by someone shouting anti-Semitic, hateful language, is unacceptable and will forever be a stain on this county. It's also sad that one of the Elections Board members abstained from voting to adjourn the meeting and even said that the reactions of other board members were just pouring fuel on the fire. Second, it's my understanding that after a years-long process, today is the day that this board is voting to remove one of its members. not because she did anything illegal or unethical, but because she was drawn out of her own district and gerrymandered maps. These two events, combined with a pattern of increasing vitriol in public comment and general divisiveness and obstruction, holds back progress and growth for our great county and its cities. We've all seen it, and we all know why it's happening, but I'll say it anyways. In November 2020, this board flipped from Republican to Democrat. Also, over 50,000 voters voted to elect Jerica Richardson for a 4-year term in District 2, but I digress. Because this board flipped, it has become a target of vitriol and attack by those who wish the county remained stuck in the past. Another cause is that there's a general lack of community in this county. We don't have a lot of opportunities to bring us together, and there are still systemic policies that segregate us today in our zoning, land use, and transportation policies. Earlier today, in the wonderful presentation about the senior citizen centers, I heard the phrase, "It's all about connections." And it struck me because of how relevant and true it is. We need to seek and find ways to connect with others, including people that might have different backgrounds, beliefs, or who they vote for. When I look at our transportation in this lens, we can build our streets for all of its users and transit for everyone. People might not see the connection, but the way we build our world around us has an impact on the way we live and how we connect with our community. We must fund, build, and operate safe and sustainable infrastructure for pedestrians, bikers, and transit riders in the way that we continue to build more lanes and infrastructure for our highways and roads. The more we enable other modes of transportation, the more cars we take off the road, which actually improves congestion in traveling by car. This path forward won't be easy, but it's time we look past the divisiveness of our past and come together to build a future Cobb that benefits everyone. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
The next speaker is Hill Wright.
Hill Wright, Chair, members of the board. Whenever the rules or laws can be twisted for political gain, they're bent beyond recognition on this board. At the last meeting, a speaker was forcefully removed from the podium simply because you didn't like what he said. It was a scene straight out of Alice in Wonderland, another off with his head moment. But this isn't about what you like or don't like or feel. It's about the fundamental principles of free speech in America. The Supreme Court in the landmark case New York Times versus Sullivan, 1964, made it clear. Debate on public issues should be uninhibited, robust, wide open, and it may well include vehement, caustic, and sometimes unpleasantly sharp attacks on government public officials. You violated the speaker's rights, and worse, you allowed a board member to interrupt and argue from the dais, abandoning all pretense of decorum. Once again, we see rules for thee and rules for we. And now Chair Cupid, after 2 years of ignoring the law, suddenly insists on following it to the letter to remove a commissioner. Why? It's plain to see this is a pretext to open a door to more lawfare targeting political opponents. You will no doubt pretend that there was no other way, but the truth is you are interested in seeking outside counsel or alternative procedures that could have allowed the commissioner to remain in her seat. Today's agenda was crafted for political, not public good. One thing we should all understand is the Cobb County is a diverse place, and the representations of the people should reflect that diversity. Representation should be determined by compromise to meet the needs of the people and not manipulated by partisan advantage. Remember, there's always a check at the State House if you don't. The lesson here is simple. Do what's right for the people, not for the party. And one last parting, I guess, word I'd like to recognize that I think something that Commissioner Richardson did well during her time was communicating with her constituents. Thank you.
The next public speaker is Tracy Stevenson.
Hello, Tracy Stevenson. Since we didn't have a prayer today, do you mind if I offer one? Dear God, I come before you in this moment. Please enlighten what is dark in me
Strengthen what is weak in me. Mend what is broken in me. Heal what is sick in me. And revive whatever peace and love that has died in me. This prayer is for me, my family, my friends, my enemies, and even those who hate me. Amen. Now I'd like to step forward and say, I'm going to talk about this for the last time. The Constitution, the home rule maps, all that. I know that today, the great irony is, with Ms. Richardson sitting in charge of the dais today, that this vote's going to be taken. I don't think there's a single board member here that ever wanted her removed from her seat. The path chosen was like pushing a rope up a hill. It was a waste of time and money, and was some terrible legal advice. I personally have called from this particular podium multiple times that I don't think Ms. Richardson should have been removed or should be removed. But I do think the home rule maps were an abomination. They were a violation of the Constitution. And I don't think you can come down on both sides of that argument. I want to put this to bed today. I don't know what the future holds. Don't know what the votes are going to be. But if you're going to be removed, it is what it is. I think it's wrong, but it's also right by the charter. So I think we have to follow the Constitution and do what must be done. I don't think anybody on this dais that votes for it today really wants you removed. I may be wrong. Y'all will have to tell me. But at the end of the day, I wish that we could all just figure out how to move forward and what's best for the county all the time. That's kind of what that prayer was about. Sam and I had some spirited conversation about M-SPLOST today. I'm against M-SPLOST as written, but that doesn't make me against mass transit. I think there's a way forward and a conversation can be had, but everybody needs to get rid of their red hat, their blue hat, their Bloods and Crips in particular, and let's move forward and try to work together rather than keep fighting over stupid things. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's the last public speaker for the first portion.
All right.
Chair, if you may, I think we may have an announcement regarding the alcohol hearing case. If they're able to move forward, that might be able to take care of that, if you want to take that out of order.
I did have a question about one of the agenda items that got brought up, but I guess, because it's on the regular agenda, so is now the appropriate time to do it, or?
I'm asking,
Okay.
there's an announcement regarding the alcohol hearing that I think would dispose of that case. If the board would be willing to consider that now at this point in time, so those witnesses and those attorneys could be
Understood.
leave.
Thank you. Okay, yes, please share with us the information. And for the audience, this is regarding agenda item 52.
Thank you, Madam Vice Chair. For the record, I'm Sam Hensley, Jr. I represent the Cobb County Business License Division. And as you know, we have an agenda item today, an alcohol hearing on BSC packing. Mr. Parks-Huff is here representing the applicant. This is an appeal hearing on the denial of that application. It is my understanding from Mr. Huff that his client now wishes to withdraw that appeal. So my recommendation was to take that out of order, as Mr. Rowling said, in order to allow folks that may be here to speak either in support or opposition of this application would not have to wait around to find out later that we're not going to have the hearing. If that is the pleasure of the board, it's my understanding that this withdrawal would be with prejudice, so they could not refile it at a later time. But I'll let Mr. Huff say whatever he needs to say in regard to that, and hopefully we could resolve that case or that item on the agenda today, right now.
Thank you. Please approach.
Mr. Hensley is correct. We're asking to withdraw the application with prejudice.
Okay, thank you. And I will turn over to our District 3 Commissioner, Commissioner Burl, on what direction you want to take and then what options, because withdrawal, we usually just pull an item, so I don't know if we need to actually do a vote, but.
Yes.
We need to vote.
Okay, Commissioner Burl.
Before we do that, I need to submit my statement for the record. Hopefully for the last time. And thank you, Madam Chair, Vice Chair. Thank you. And Do you want to do yours before we vote? Okay. I would like to make a motion to withdraw with prejudice, item number 52, BSC Packing LLC, 2418 Canton Road.
Second.
Discussion?
I would like to make the following statement to have recorded with all my votes for today. While the board has taken steps to return to the legislative maps approved by Governor Kemp, as a formality, I believe the board still needs to take the proper steps to appeal the Home Rule resolution approved on October 25th of 2022. As the letter sent to the Secretary of State on September 9th of 2024 made no reference to the Home Rule resolution submitted to their office on October 26th of 2022. There has been much discussion on Home Rule authority and reapportionment as a result of the Republicans in the General Assembly bypassing the traditional role of the county delegation in the process. The county delegation is comprised of members of the Georgia House and the Georgia Senate who represent any part of Cobb County and collectively have no legal authority per the official code of Georgia. The General Assembly does not adjudicate disputes within and does not poll the members of the local delegation for their opinions. Similarly, the chair of the Cobb delegation has no official authority to violate the one man, one vote, which is the underlying principle of redistricting. To support these statements, a federal judge in a 2003 case, Smith v. Cobb County Board of Elections, quote, "The underlying assumption of local courtesy is that the bill affects only a certain city or county, and therefore representatives and senators of other districts should defer to that local delegation's judgment. Local courtesy is custom, however, and is not provided for in either the House or Senate rules. Should a member of the House or Senate choose to challenge local legislation on the floor, local courtesy is not enforced," end quote. The county attorney's office is taking the brunt of this, and while deserved, they can point their finger back at the majority of the board because, after all, they followed directions. Yet now we are near the end of this novel concept, and our enabling legislation will more than likely allow the affected commissioner to finish their term.
I'm sorry.
More discussion?
Yeah.
Commissioner Sheffield?
I'm trying to make the connection, and I appreciate your comments, your connection with this particular case. I don't know if, Bill, if that discussion, because it seems more of a process that was handled that we're concluding today. I'm just trying to connect the dots between the comments and this agenda item.
I have made statements since January 24th of 2022
Right.
regarding the home rule actions. This is
Right.
just an updated statement that will be recorded with all votes. So this is the same thing that we have been doing for the
Right.
past 19 months.
Right, but
I have to
generally-
submit it before we vote, and the clerk will attach a comment, just like it is in every single minutes, referencing our statement attached to our votes.
Okay.
So this is my new statement
Your
attached to.
updated statement, okay.
Yes.
All right.
All right. And just so that the audience follows it, it's a little, because this is a agenda item that we're bringing up front, usually this is done around consent. This is now being done before a regular agenda item.
Right.
Thank you.
I just wanted to make sure the audience is following because we all know what's happening internally, but for those that are in the audience or those watching that are just not making the connection, I just want them to follow what's happening up here.
Thank you. All right, and Commissioner Burrow?
Since this was scheduled to be at the end of our meeting, there were folks that were going to be attending. So they won't need to come now. So I guess my office will try to notify the ones that we knew were coming to speak for the hearing.
Yes, thank you, Madam Commissioner, and that was the intent of my suggestion, that we bring this forward now so that people that might be on their way or want to come later or are here now would not have to sit here, through a long commission meeting and then find out that the issue has been resolved, hopefully to their satisfaction if they were in opposition to the application.
So just to clarify, my motion is to withdraw with prejudice item number 52 for the package store license.
Excellent. All right. And we can call to question. Motion passes for four commissioners with Chairwoman Cupid absent.
Thank you for your indulgence on that.
Thank you. Okay. During public comment, there was a question about agenda item 25 related to the wrecker zones. I just wanted to ask the commissioners if there was interest in hearing information on that or proceeding with it in the consent agenda.
Well, first of all, it went through the procurement process, and I think if anybody can address it, it would be Director Register, if we need to have discussion, but I'm comfortable with the way it's being presented.
Okay. Yes.
Do you want
This
me
is just a question to the county attorney or the county manager. Is there a way for the speaker to discuss why his bid wasn't accepted? I mean, is there a process that?
Yes, ma'am. There's a process for anyone going through the procurement process who may not have gotten the outcome that they desired to reach out to the procurement office, and they will be happy to sit down and go with you over the scoring and perhaps why you may not have scored as highly as you perceive that you would have.
Wonderful, thank you. Commissioner Sheffield?
And there was a reference from the speaker regarding what the residents are charged. When we go through the process, is that something that's taken into consideration?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So those numbers were shared in advance in terms of reviewing the vendors before a decision was made?
I'm not sure
The
I understand
financial
that.
piece of it.
Yes, there are several scoring criteria, and each of those are a part of the RFP.
Do you want to pull it?
And there is usually a pre-bid hearing whereby anyone who is going through the process can come and ask questions. Those questions are answered and put up so that everyone can see the questions and answers who may be a part of that process. So if you don't get the bid, there is a part after post-bid that you can also go back to the procurement office and ask what happened, or can you help me to understand? So for a future bid, I'll know what I need to do to make sure I don't make the same mistakes, if indeed mistakes were made.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, and just to be clear for my colleagues, what I'm asking is if you do have questions, we can move it to regular just for the sake of asking those questions. But if there is comfort, then we'll leave it on the consent so that we can continue on with.
My question's answered.
Okay. Any questions? You're comfortable? Okay. All right. Well, on to the consent agenda. So we have a couple of edits to our consent. So for item number 17, there is a revised site plan to properly represent the actual zoning categories in the map. And then item number 29 was pulled. So that will be, we will see that later on as a hearing at a future date. Are there any other edits that you all are familiar with that I'm missing? Yes.
No edits, but just a comment about number 17. This is just to authorize advertising for a public hearing. This is not the public hearing for this particular road closure. I just wanted to make that clear to the audience because I have had some calls. And of course, they will be notified and be able to come and address their comments when the public hearing is set.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other revisions? Okay. With that, I will motion to approve the following items on the consent agenda as revised and authorize execution of the necessary documents by the appropriate county personnel.
Second.
Discussion? Call to question. And the motion passes with 4 commissioners and Chairwoman Cupid absent. On to the regular agenda. First up, transportation. Hi, JD.
Good morning, Board, County Manager. J.D. Lorenz on behalf of DOT. We have five items for your consideration today. We'd like to ask to approve the supplemental agreement number 1 to amendment work authorization 2 to the program management agreement with Atkins North America Incorporated in the amount of $2 million for additional program management services required, and authorize the chairwoman to execute the necessary documents.
Motion to approve. Second. Discussion? Call to question. Motion passes. Floor commissioners with Chairwoman Cupid absent.
Thank you. We ask to approve the revised budget and current schedule for the 2022 Transportation Improvements Program, funded primarily by the 2022 Special Purpose Local Option Sales Tax, and authorize the corresponding budget transactions.
Okay. Motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion? Call to question. And the motion passes for commissioners with Chairwoman Cupid absent.
Thank you. We ask to ratify previous action by the county manager authorizing emergency drainage repairs on Claxton Court in response to a sinkhole. Approve project number B22143 to the 2024 countywide unit price contract with Chatfield Contracting Incorporated in the amount not to exceed $247,349.25 for said repairs. Authorize the corresponding budget transaction, and further authorize the chairwoman to execute the necessary documents.
Commissioner Sheffield?
So moved.
Second. Discussion? Call to question. Motion passes for commissioners with Chairwoman Cupid absent.
Thank you. Asked to approve a contract with Glosson Enterprises LLC in the amount not to exceed $108,030 for West Sandtown Road Sidewalk North Phase 2, project number B2715. Authorize the corresponding budget transaction, and further authorize the chairwoman to execute the necessary documents.
Commissioner Gambrill? So moved. Second. Discussion? Call to question. Motion passes for commissioners and Chairwoman Cupid absent.
Thank you. Authorize advertisement to hold a public hearing prior to expending $100,000 or more for engineering design services for 5 2022 SPLOST Transportation Improvement Program projects, and further authorize the issuance of requests for qualifications or task orders to secure required services.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Call to question. Motion passes with 4 commissioners and Chairwoman Cupid absent.
Thank you.
Thank you. On to Information Technology Services.
Good morning, Commissioners and County Manager. Our item this morning is a joint item with Procurement Services to request your approval of a 3-year contract with OpenGov, Inc. for an e-procurement system in the amount of not to exceed $632,521.73, 2022 SPLOST Project B0040. Authorize the corresponding budget transactions, and further authorize the chairwoman to execute the necessary documents.
So moved. Second. Discussion? Call to question. Motion passes with 4 commissioners and Chairwoman Cupid absent.
Thank you.
Next up, Property Management.
Good morning, Commissioners, County Manager. Property Management has one item this morning. Property Management would like to request the Board of Commissioners approve a contract with Capital City Electrical Services, LLC, for the amount not to exceed $353,490 for SPLOST 2016 Project X0922, emergency generator replacement at the Sheriff's Office headquarters. Authorize the corresponding budget transactions and further authorize the chairwoman to execute the necessary documents.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Call to question? Motion carries with 4 commissioners and Chairwoman Cupid absent.
Thank you.
Thank you. Cobb Works. A very, very exciting agenda item.
Good morning. This particular agenda item is addressing procurement policies under Cobb County for purchases over $100,000. We're asking for permission to utilize the procurement policy to ensure that we're able to purchase the furniture for the new Workforce Development Center. The total cost of the furniture is $296,414. There's zero impact on the Cobb County budget, as these funds will be taken out of Cobb Works' original grant.
Commissioner Sheffield?
Sonia, thank you so much. I know that this has been years in the making to get us to this point, even before I took office, and it's coming along nicely, and it's going to be such an improvement to the community for people to be able to access this resource in South Cobb. So thank you for all of your work on this. So moved.
Second. Discussion?
Looking forward to the next one.
Oh, my.
In my neck of the woods.
Yes, ma'am. Open sooner than this one. This one is scheduled to be open in November of 2024. Looking forward to Gritter's opening very soon as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Sonia.
Call to yeah, it's Sonia. Hold on.
Still discussion.
Yes.
Yes.
Any other? Okay, call to question. And the motion carries with 4 commissioners and Chairwoman Cupid absent.
Thank you.
Now you're free to go. Well done. Okay, so we have now arrived to the BOC Chair tab. For this agenda item, I will be recusing myself. And, yeah. If
So you're recusing yourself and stepping down from the dais at that point in time?
Okay, thank you.
Do you want me to go or you go?
I'll say. The first step then at that point in time is for the county manager to declare that there's still a quorum.
Yes. Commissioners, I declare that there is a quorum in the absence of the chair and the vice chair. And I also understand there is consensus among the commissioners that for this particular agenda item, once presented by the county attorney, that Commissioner Sheffield of District 4 will handle the item from that point. So she will be officially appointed as the temporary chair for this particular item. Is there consensus? Thank you.
Commissioners, item number 46 is back before you. Ironically, it shows up back as item number 46, which is the exact same number it was during the last meeting. The only component that's before you today is the one that ended in a tie for a 2-2 vote. And that is for the Board of Commissioners to approve notice to District 2 Commissioner that the office is deemed vacant per Part 2 of Section 223B, the official code of Georgia, and authorizes the chairwoman to execute the notice pursuant to 4551 and any necessary documents of said purpose. So if you want to, you could make another motion in a second and vote on it at this point in time.
But the motion is just for that second part, right? So we're squared on the first motion from the last meeting, right? Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
All
ma'am.
right. Okay, but I don't need to reference that. I just need to approve the motion if that's what we're going to do, right?
Or you can make that motion.
Okay, all
Or
right.
anyone can make that motion in a second.
Okay. So in that case, I make a motion to approve agenda item number 46.
Second.
Discussion? Any discussion? No? Okay.
I have some discussion.
Okay.
Well, first of all, we have said all along it was not fair or right that Commissioner Richardson was drawn out of her district. And as one of the speakers even mentioned that was opposed to the home rule process, as I was, that it was never the intent to remove her from office. However, once the map, the state map, legislative map, was approved at our last meeting, that causes a vacancy in the seat because the District 2 Commissioner does not live in the district with the state map. So for almost 2 years, I've been entering a statement that I will uphold the Constitution and follow the law, and we are required by law, now that the state map has passed, we are required by law to give the District 2 Commissioner a 10-day notice. So that, I thought I was doing the right thing by trying to keep her in office at the last meeting, but I have to follow the law and uphold the Constitution. So that's why this vote that was pending, a 2-2 tie, is now back in front of us. Thank you.
Right.
This has certainly been a process, and we're finally at the finish line and the conclusion of our process. And as has been mentioned from the dais, from the audience, from my colleagues, it's never been the intent for any of us to vote Commissioner out of her seat. However, in following along the lines of the Act 562, I believe, this is the next step in that process. And at the beginning of the meeting, our county attorney shared some steps of what's to happen next. There were comments about concern that the commissioner's still on the dais. That is part of the process. And there is a process even after this point. And just to reiterate that, there are 2 paths forward. The seat has been deemed vacant. So the commissioners will need to appoint someone. At the conclusion of this agenda item or this vote, the commissioner will receive a notice. And in that notice, she has the right to appeal. If she appeals, then it will be a holding pattern until the judge decides. If she does not, then we will appoint someone to continue her term. So today will not be her last day on the dais, and I just want everyone to understand why that is. As we move forward, we are moving forward in the next step of the process. And that's all I wanted to add. Bill, I guess we can call the vote, call the question. The vote passes 3-2 with 3-0, thank you, with Commissioner Richardson abstaining and Chair Cupid absent.
I think that's the shortest tenured job you've ever had. So
I
at
think
this
so.
point,
I think so.
we will invite Commissioner Richardson back to the dais.
All right, well done serving as your first time as chair. Yes, that's right. That's right, you've done it before. I think we've all, yeah. Okay, going on. Before we go into public comment, I do want to just take a moment to share my thoughts on what is proceeded. I think everyone has had a chance to share their particular perspectives, so this will be my statement related to it before public comment. This is not, is that, is,
Well, the chair of the meeting actually runs a point on the presentations, but if you're taking this out of order, it'd be appropriate for you to actually ask the commission if you could do that, or otherwise you could address this during your commissioner comment
I
portion.
can appreciate that, and will ask for my colleagues to indulge me in my ability to share my statement as you all have had a chance to share yours as well.
But is this going to be a statement you want attached to votes, or is this a statement you're making as part of your commissioner comments?
I wouldn't say it's attached to votes because it's a bit more complex considering it's more of a chance for everyone to understand where we are for
So to me,
District
this
2.
is your commissioner comments then,
Well, then-
portion of the 3 minutes.
I will ask that either one or the other because it may go a little bit over 3 minutes, just a little bit.
And I think we should allow that.
Well, I agree with that, but again, we do not have a specific agenda item for this.
Okay.
The only specific agenda item we have for this is
I'm not
under
there, right.
commissioner comments. So that's where I'm struggling, that we're trying to add something.
Sure. Go ahead, and then we'll just go down the line.
Would it be okay to do it during commissioner
I can.
address, but allow however many minutes you need?
Thank you.
And I concur that we can give her more than the 3
Right.
minutes that we are held by policy to follow.
Thank you. That was my concern, was a 3-minute limitation.
I mean, I would not have an issue with you sharing, although it's not an agenda item. We've already voted on all of the agenda items. We all had an opportunity to express concern or share comments regarding her seat. We've heard from everyone except Commissioner Richardson. It is my opinion, because of the unique situation that we find ourselves in, I don't think that it would be of any harm to have her share her comments. Now, if the concern is time and you want to not share your commissioner comments towards the end, that's fine. But I think that maybe the people would also like to hear from her. And generally, when we go over our commissioner comments, pretty much everyone is either gone or checked out. So I'm okay with her sharing, just based on the uniqueness of what we're dealing with.
I have another suggestion. Do we have any speakers signed up for the second public comment? We do, okay.
It's 10? 2, okay.
It's 2, and then we do have some appointments that have to be approved and voted on, correct?
Right.
Okay, so,
It was meant to be relevant
What-
for the moment, but
for the last
right,
vote
for
that
the
you were-
moment, because I was recused for that agenda
Right.
item, but
And that's why, I think that's what Commissioner Gamble we're saying, that if it's regarding the last item and you recused yourself, can she
That's
make
why I said
comments
The
now?
discussion on that agenda item is over. The vote has been taken.
Right.
That's where the procedural issue I'm having here. But again, to clarify, I have no problem under the commissioner address, right? Commissioner's public address, which is under the tab. I have no problem extending Commissioner Richardson additional time for her to read her statement and also do her commissioner comments.
okay.
Is that
Let's stay within procedure for that. We have the comments.
Well, since there are only 2 people signed up for public comment, can she use one of those slots? But you need more than 3 minutes. Okay. Calm down, everybody. Just calm down.
It's fine. I did just
calm
want
down.
to
Let her.
Yeah, I
I
just
thought
want
the
to be,
commissioners were trying to discuss this among ourselves.
I just wanted to be clear with what what the options were. I appreciate the extra time because I will need the extra time for the public address.
Okay, let's move on.
All right, carry on. Public comment, round 2.
First public speaker is Debbie Winasco. Thank you.
That's what makes me unique. Good morning, everybody. My name is Debbie Nukowski. I live in Cobb County. I have been here for 19 years. I came to Cobb County for a job, but settled in this county for the schools, the diversity, and what it offers. I'm here to say thank you to all of the individuals who serve on the board. This divisiveness that has to tone down, and I want to thank each of you for your dedication to this committee and to Cobb County. I have watched the hateful speech, and as an American, this is unacceptable. We are Americans, and we should be civil with each other. We have our differences, and we need to tone it down. I do want to do a shout out to Joanne Burnell. She did get me my sidewalks. They're not there yet, but I appreciate your effort. I know it's been a long time coming, budget, but I really appreciate it, and I'm looking forward to them coming. So I want to thank all of you for your dedication to Cobb County, to the state of Georgia, and to the United States. We need to remember we are all Americans, and God bless America, and thank you so much for your service.
Thank you.
The next speaker is Mary Jo Foster.
Hello, I'm Mary Jo Foster. I appreciate the Cobb County Commission. I do agree with all of those who would like to go by the Constitution because that's what you took an oath of office to do, to abide by. And I think a lot of the rhetoric and the accusing people of hateful speech just because they want you to abide by the Constitution is unwarranted. And I do hope and pray that in the future you will abide by the Constitution of Georgia and of the United States. Breaking your oath of office is a serious offense to the people. The people who sit in government positions are obligated to the people of the United States. We are not obligated to you, you're obligated to us to defend us under the Constitution. So that being said, I will be praying for you in the future and continue to pray for y'all in the future that you will know the constitutions and abide by them. Thank you.
That's the last public speaker.
All right, on to, hold on one second, our appointments tab. We've got several approvals, first of which is to authorize submission to the Kennestone Hospital Authority names for consideration for appointment to the Kennestone Hospital Authority to fill the expired terms of Post 1. So this is a motion to submit Steve Byrne, Fred Holmes, and Jailene Hunter as our names on behalf of the board. So motion made.
What's the motion?
Motion.
Second.
Discussion? Call to question? Motion carries with 4 commissioners and Chairwoman Cupid absent. Next item is to approve the appointment to the Hospital Authority of Cobb. So a motion to approve the list. This is for Post 1 and Post 7. Post 1, Dr. Prashant Mishra, Ed Richardson, Connie Bullock, and Post 7, Ed Richardson, Dr. Prashant Mishra, and Melinda Ashcroft as our names.
Second.
Discussion? Call to question? Motion carries with 4 commissioners and Chairwoman Cupid absent. Next item is to approve the appointment of Lori Newton to the Victim Witness Fee Fund Board of Trustees. So a motion to approve the appointment of Lori Newton to this board.
Second. Oh.
I have a question about the previous, because it says under the recommendation approve the reappointment of Ed Richardson and approve the appointment of Dr. Prashant Mishra. It's not, we're approving
them two
one
different
part,
things.
post 1 and post 7.
I shared post 1 and post 7, but I did not share the recommendation language.
Right. She just shared the 3 names for the 2 posts,
Do
but
we need
we're
to-
actually voting on 1 person from each post.
Correct, which is the recommendation of the agenda item. And so it'd be motion as presented, and which is consistent with how the clerk recorded it.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. If I need to reread it, or read the recommendation directly. But, okay, I'm getting those. And then, yes, okay, item 49, I think it's a great question. Back to 49, this is a motion to approve the appointment of Lori Newton to the Victim Witness Fee Fund Board of Trustees. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, discussion? Call to question? Motion carries with 3 commissioners, Commissioner Gambrill voting no, and Chairwoman Cupid absent. And the last appointment out of this seat, out of the BOC chair, is to approve the appointment of Derek Vincent to the Property Advisory Commission. This is a motion to approve the appointment, of Derek Vincent to the Property Advisory Commission to serve at the pleasure of the board.
Second.
Called, discussion? Call to question? Motion carries with 4 commissioners and Chairwoman Cupid absent. And lastly, Commissioner Gambrill.
Yes, I'd like to announce the reappointment of Richard Rubio to the Neighborhood Safety Committee.
All right, awesome. That brings us to our commissioner's public address. First up is Commissioner Gambrill.
Our sincere condolences go out to Linda Dobbins of Kennesaw. Linda provided 45 and a half years of dedicated service between the Cobb County Superior Court and Cobb County Police Department. She will be greatly missed but never forgotten. A celebration of her life will be held on Wednesday, September 11th at 1 p.m. in the Chapel of First Baptist Woodstock. To attend or send flowers or get more information, you can scan the QR code. Lastly, tomorrow is September 11th and is recognized as the National Day of Service and Remembrance. On this Patriot Day, we honor the heroes and victims who lost their lives on September 11th while reflecting on the importance of service to others. Thank you.
On to District 3, Commissioner Burl, thank you for your comments.
Thank you. This Saturday, September 14th, we'll be celebrating the annual East Cobber Parade. With more than 2,000 participants, the parade will feature high school bands, classic cars, and more than 80 colorful floats. Johnston Ferry Road will be closed from 9:30 to 11:30 northbound and southbound from Mount Bethel Elementary School, Princeton Lake Subdivision entrance to Old Town Parkway, and Johnston Ferry Baptist Church. The festival begins after the parade at Johnston Ferry Baptist Church, 955 Johnston Ferry Road. Come out, enjoy the fun, bring the kids, and we'll bring lots of candy. The next Coffee with Your Cop in District 3 will be at Legacy Church on Blackwell Road, 1040 Blackwell Road. Get to know your local law enforcement and break down the barriers between police and citizens that they serve. And it's Thursday, September 19th from 9 to 11, 1040 Blackwell Road, Legacy Church. Looking forward to it. Tomorrow is September 11th. Must we never forget those who died. An awful day when we were attacked. Many lives were lost due to the horrific and senseless events of September 11, 2001. We honor those lost and will never forget the sacrifices that they made. Our continued prayers are with the victims and their families. Congress deemed 9/11 a national day of service and remembrance and named it Patriot Day. A moment of silence is traditionally observed at 8:46 a.m. God bless.
And Commissioner Sheffield.
Thank you. District 4 news and updates. The South Cobb Business Association is hosting its monthly luncheon tomorrow, September 11th at 11 a.m. Maddie James, as seen on Good Morning America, will be the guest speaker. Ms. James will discuss how to enhance your life and business with meaningful and intentional social media strategies. The event will occur at Faith Christian Center at 3831 Traymore Point Parkway in Austell. Don't miss this chance to gain valuable insight for both personal and professional growth. For more details, visit southcobbba.org. Join Word of Faith Cathedral's Cathedral's 6th Annual Health and Wellness Experience at the Riverside Epicenter on Saturday, September 14th. The event continues Word of Faith's mission to empower, educate, and bring hope and health to the community. It will kick off with a special session by Dr. Tart, a renowned faith-based psychologist who will interestingly speak on calm in the chaos at 9 a.m. The Health and Wellness Experience will follow from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. and will offer services such as healthcare consultations, self-care, mental health resources, CPR demonstrations, and much more. The Riverside Epicenter is located at 135 Riverside Parkway in Austell. Scan the QR code on your screen for more information and to register. Join us in making history by selecting a name for the highly anticipated recreation center in the Milford Osborne community. The final steel beam has been installed and we are excited to start the build-out. The deadline to vote is Friday, September 13th. Your selection could be proudly displayed on the building scheduled to open in March 2025. Please visit cobbcounty.org to vote or email Rwanda McIntosh at rwanda.mcintosh@cobbcounty.org for the voting link. The annual North Georgia Fair is coming to town. Mark your calendars for September 19th through the 29th for this exciting event, which promises thrilling rides, delicious food, live entertainment, and fun activities for the whole family. Don't miss out on one of the year's biggest and most anticipated events where memories are made and fun is guaranteed. The fair will be held at Jim Miller Park, located at 2245 Callaway Road in Marietta. For more information, visit northgeorgiastatefair.com. Thank you.
Thank you. Always so much. So I am going to start with my statement. Serving you, my constituents, has been one of the greatest honors of my life. And I can say that I spent every waking moment possible in an effort to continue to improve that service. The aspiration of our District 2 office was to be an effective engine to solve problems and empower people through education, connection, transparency, and compassion, and to always be more strategic, compassionate, transparent, and connected than the previous day. While there's plenty more left to be desired from this governing body, we knew we were on our way to completing many of the systemic changes that we sought to make and promised to you. From increasing access to veterans benefits nationwide, prioritizing a mobility and infrastructure conversation, creating coalitions and a plan to empower Cobb and Georgia residents for decades through major regional federal infrastructure, taking steps to improving the living conditions and standards for residents who put their time, energy, and effort into their homes, acknowledging vibrant communities ripe for investment in partnership with the state, hosting major national events, raising the bar for community participation in local government, involving over 100 interns through our office for leadership in community development, funding multiple capital improvement projects, including broadband expansion opportunities, maintaining a flat millage rate every year, navigating COVID recovery, and launching workforce development programs. It certainly has been a busy 4 years together. And this was all done in the midst of 2 cityhood movements, several lawsuits, 7 state legislative bills, and an ethics complaint with the threatened consequence of removing me from office every step of the way. And it was through the grace of God and the fervent nature of my community that despite the challenges, we still rose to meet each occasion. Yes, housing affordability, master planning, eviction rates, sustainability efforts, inflation, and tax code improvements still remain on the list of outstanding items, but good work has been put forward in these areas as well. We were in office unafraid to listen, share, and confront what seemed impossible. We were in office focused not just on educating, but empowering so that each person could be enabled to contribute meaningfully with facts and solutions. It is my hope that that is our legacy and torch that each constituent carries on, whether I am here or not. And while many may speculate as to my decision to hold an injunction against the county or take an appeal in federal court, my concern would be the potential jeopardization of future constituencies with representation that neither knows them nor lives near them. I trust, however, that we can find a way to consider the real legal questions that are at hand. I trust that our courts will get to the point of deliberating on these consequences. I have always contested 2 things: that if my term were cut short, even just 1 day, it would be an injustice well beyond just me. And secondly, that the checks and balances that exist within our layers of government are sacred and are there to ensure that no agency grows too powerful or too large. In this debate, we've lost our ability to actually debate the real legal questions. The county never drew a map. The state drew 2 maps. The county cannot change its enabling legislation without using home rule. Where we are today is actually where we would have been 2 years ago on January 1st, right along with a special election, setting the precedent that any elected official could possibly be removed at any time is dangerous. And now we are watching the process happen before our very eyes. I'm not ignorant to the historic nature and impact of this vacancy, this forced vacancy, but I am sensitive to the positions and mindset of all the players in this long saga of challenges and the distasteful and rampant and partisan nature that has seemed to overcompensate for the actual issues at hand. And while I respect the decision of the courts and have always claimed to do so by complying, I unfortunately fear that public opinion has clouded the facts in the case, causing a lack of due process on the merits of the real legal questions and true consideration of the consequences of such decisions. I draw this inference not based on qualifications, motives, or the intelligence of the opinion editorialists and arbiters, but rather on the questions that are asked by these individuals and the new case law by which standing is now available. Local governments are the laboratories of democracy, where our nation's republic either strengthens or shears. It occurs but one layer at a time, threatening the delicate checks and balances that exist, trading deliberation for judgment, nuance for absolutions, solutions for scapegoats, fact for conspiracy, civility for entertainment, and logic for passion, leads down a long trail whose ending is usually unrecognizable to the travelers. Good intentions do not always bring one to a good place. Cobb has been ground zero for something. Time will tell what it is. But for now, I will be satisfied with my contribution in serving in this capacity as commissioner and continue to do so as I have done before I was elected. Continue to seek out problems, identify real solutions, and maybe inspire others along the way. It's the engineer in me. I started my term with a proclamation to my colleagues that we should make it count. And I think we did just that. However, knowing the consequences of today, voter nullification, forced vacancies, missing representation, and long-term precedents, I'm sharing here that I will work to make sure that my community receives the answers they deserve and that you are not forgotten. Thank you. And I will do this really, really fast because there are a couple of things that are going on in the district. We go ahead and flip through. Thank you, commissioners, as well for allowing me that. We have our District 2 quarterly report. So that is coming up September 17th. Hear about all the goings on because there is a lot going on. and you'll be able to hear from all of our partners around the county. And then Public Safety Make-A-Wish 5K. Put your money where your feet are and run for a worthy cause. The Make-A-Wish 5K on October 5th. Cobb County will host the run that raises money to help grant wishes for children with critical illnesses. And this is something that a constituent brought back to life after COVID, so wanted to make sure that it got its spotlight as well. And that concludes my comments, and I will adjourn our meeting. Thank you very much.